Hey y'all, it's day 29 of the vlog. And this week, dare I say this month or for in perpetuity, is the week of the morning routine. And yes, I can tend to be a little grandiose in my goal setting, but hey, enthusiasm is helpful. Um, so I've certainly talked some about mornings in this process so far, like just trying to make it easier to get out of bed in the cold, dreary, dark mornings, and how I tend to do things like work out and meditate in the morning so that I'm starting the day off on a good tone, and I'm also done important things early in the day that are likely to slip down the priority list if they don't happen then. So this is just sort of me really uh, leaning into that fully. And so I'm just going to read to you. I my morning this morning did not go that way because I fell down one of my famous rabbit holes. Um, I have been still kind of playing around with like what do I want to do with fitness right now? Do I want to do the Peloton app? Do I want to do I was doing my Sydney Cummings workouts and I've been really excited about her on and off since May when I first discovered her, but like to be honest, um it's just a little too intense for me. And some of the workouts are like 50, 60 minutes long with some frequency and that's sometimes fine, but I don't like it. Like I would love it to be 30, 40 most days, with some rest days, not only on one day a week. So, yeah. So, anyway, I liked with her that it was just sort of like, this is the workout you're doing today. And of course, even though she has hundreds online, the appeal of that is the decision is taken away, the decision fatigue, and it's just there. However, then I'm doing 50 or 60-minute workouts that are really intense and were causing my legs to swell still. And so anyway, that just wasn't great. So I was like trying to figure out, what do I want to do? Do I want to do Fitness Blender or what? And I ended up deciding to do, and it's the name is silly, so just take this with a grain of salt. But you've probably heard of Beachbody. They're the company behind like the Insanity workouts and a lot of other workout series that have been pretty popular, like infomercial DVD sets over the years. But like many of those, they have an on demand that is very price competitive with all the other ones. I think it works out to like it's quarterly or annual, and it works out to like $13 a month. So it's really, really reasonable priced, comparable to Peloton or any of those other ones. So anyway, after doing some research, I decided I was going to do theirs. You just kind of have to tune out all of the stuff like you need to be on Shakeology for their shake, which is like $130 and a month for if you're going to have it every day. And I will tell you that even though I try to be like really on my BS detector with nutrition stuff and diet culture stuff, I totally fell down the research rabbit hole with that too, which is ridiculous because no, I don't need to be spending $130 a month on a freaking shake. But I do love a good smoothie, and I tend to have a smoothie most days. So I was like, oh my God, is this like the secret? Do I need this? It says it curbs cravings, and I've been snacking constantly, and maybe I need this. And whew, slow your roll, right? So luckily I got off that train, but I was like, I can just do the exercise and just do my own food stuff with my clean food dirty girl meal plan, my smoothies in the morning and or oatmeal, and that's perfect. It did help me discover, however, part of what I'm going to focus on um, in at least the next week, but hopefully longer than that. I would say I'll give these a solid month to try them because I think it'll probably take some time for me to notice whether they're helping. Two supplements that I'm going to add on. By the way, the flower essence thing, um, I've decided that that feels more like a spiritual and energetic thing. And while that might help my headspace, it's not something that I'm looking at in terms of like this is going to help my brain, my ADHD. So I still, as part of the heart centered thing that I'm doing with Danielle Laporte, On a lot of months, not every month, but a lot of months, she identifies a flower essence that kind of goes with the spiritual exploration theme for the month. So I might continue to do that with the whatever one is chosen for the month. But that again, that's more on kind of like a spiritual, energetic level. So the two supplements that I have decided to try, which are both very inexpensive, um, thankfully, like I want to say one of them was like $6 for like at least 3 months supply, and then the other one was maybe $12 for at least a month or two supply. So one of them is Gaba, which I and this is where like I'm one of those people who I'm like, yes, I'm interested in the science, but I also feel that research and science can sometimes be limited or lagging. So I do give credence to like normal people's Amazon reviews, which for better or worse, I do. Um, so I did read some different reviews and articles talking about how GABA has been really helpful for some people with ADHD symptoms. So I'm like, sure, I'll try GABA. It's supposed to be good for your mood and other things. So I'm going to try that. And then L-glutamine is supposed to be really good with cravings. And at $6 for a container, I can't remember which one was 6 and which one was 12. But compared to $130 a month shake, even if it's some placebo effect, I'm going to try it. So those two supplements I will be taking. And I chose one of the Beachbody programs. It's called the Morning Meltdown 100, and it's 100 workouts in 100 days. And I really like the structure of it. They mix all kinds of different modalities of strength and cardio and more like flow yoga style movements and more like kickboxing MMA style movements. And then they give you a few different calendar alternatives for like if you want to just do one workout a day for 100 days. And some of those are like some of the workouts, maybe once out of every 10 is like more of just a stretching, and one out of every 10 is more of a yoga. So there's some kind of recovery built into the movement. But you can also, like the calendar I got is 100 days where some of them you're doubling up. So you're doing like two 20-minute workouts, and then you're getting a rest day every 5 days. So I'm doing that version. So what's cool is that particular program came with this really nice PDF booklet that I started filling out this morning, and it's all about like committing to the program. And that's kind of what got my wheels turning about the morning routine stuff, because it's called Morning Meltdown. So, not that you have to do them in the morning, but that's when I usually like to exercise anyway. So they have a thing in here of your perfect morning routine. So I really sat with this, and here's what I came up with. So I'm out of bed by 6 a.m. and I immediately get dressed in my workout duds. Unless it's a rest day, in which case I'm probably still wearing workout clothes, athleisure wear. And then I will drink, if it's like a double workout day, I might have a little pre-workout supplement that I can drink. I'll do my 5-minute heart math morning. I'll do my heart-centered meditation. I'll have a little bit of a banana and nut butter just as kind of a little bit of fuel before my workout. I'm going to save my smoothie for either mid-morning or like even for my lunchtime, like dessert, because it does feel like a dessert for me. And I'm like, oh, and then I can maybe not have like 4 peanut butter cookies, because I always have dessert at dinner. And do I really need dessert twice a day? I don't know. So I'm going to experiment with that. We'll see. Obviously, if I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. That's bottom line. But anyway, my little snack and then my workout, and then do my desire map planning, make my matcha latte, read. I put reading in the morning routine. You heard it here. I'm doing it. I am making that declaration to myself. It is written down. It is now in the video. I'm putting 45 minutes of reading in the morning. And all of this, like I have this extreme privilege to be able to have such flexibility in my morning routine. I know not everyone does, but even if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, wouldn't that be nice if I didn't have like kids running around and I had 2.5 hours in the morning. Like I just, again, like challenge people to think about, like, even if you don't have 2.5 hours, maybe you have an hour. And even if that means you wake up at 5 and you get to bed a little earlier, like that's probably good for everybody to get to bed a little earlier. And you wake up at 5 and you have an hour, hour and a half, there's a lot you can do in that time. So maybe you read for 20 minutes and maybe you do a 30-minute workout. Like there's still a lot that can happen in a shorter morning routine. But for me, I want this morning routine. Like, I teach self-care for a living, right? Like it's kind of really important that I walk my talk. And again, I'm not assuming that all my clients have the ability to take this amount of time to do this kind of thing, but I need to be like really, really strong in this if I want to be in my integrity of encouraging people to have their own routines and commit to their own routines that work, and not holding anyone to standards of perfection, nor should I hold myself to that. So even as I'm sharing this, I'm like, oh, what about weekends? Like, I still want to do all these things, but they might, I'm probably not going to get up at 6 a.m. every weekend, though I do tend to go to bed early anyways. So I might be up pretty early, but there might be times where I want to prioritize doing something with my husband before I do my reading. So we'll see. It may not be perfect on weekends, but I also am a proponent of like, just because you go on vacation or just because it's a weekend doesn't mean that your big self care things stop being important. Like they are still important. And so, whether you want to call it like 80/20, like, 80% of the time you do what's really important, 20% of the time you're less, attached to that or less rigid with it. It's different for everybody, but I philosophically think that, it really is always important for me to be doing a lot of these things, even if they look a little different and change with time. So, anyway, do my desire map planning after the workout, make my matcha, read for 45 minutes. If I still have any time, I might do a little journaling, and that would be the end of the routine. So, all of that together would take probably, depending on if I'm doing like a 20-minute workout or if I'm doing one of the days where I'm doubling up, might be closer to 45, 50 minutes. And I don't usually shower in the mornings. Might sound gross, even if I don't work out. I don't sweat a lot. Um, and so, and even if I do sweat, I'll sometimes like towel off and like, I don't really smell that much. So as long as I shower before, if I did sweat, as long as I shower before I get into bed later that night, I usually feel pretty good. So I don't have to like schedule that into my morning time necessarily. So yeah, I'm really excited. You can probably tell. And I will see, like, there's a possibility that I'll get a little bit into these workouts and find out that for whatever reason my body is not into it, and I will be open to changing that up. But as of right now, and I just did the one first workout this morning, I'm really excited about it. I love the idea of committing to one program for 100 days, because I think that would really also challenge the part, like the FOMO that I've named before, of like, ooh, what if I come across something that sounds even more exciting? Like, well, unless I have a really good reason, like my body's unhappy, I made this commitment to myself and I'm going to finish these 100 days. So I really think that'll be helpful with the shiny object syndrome, and just trying to stay committed to it. And if there's, there are days like I'm still doing Adrian's thing for another couple of weeks. So, and even today, like I haven't, I only day I missed so far of that, I was, did a practice for my yoga teacher training. So today in doing all of this stuff and some other things, I haven't done Adrian's practice yet, and I may miss it today. I don't know. But on the whole, I would normally will try to stick with that, and there may be days where I add in a little bit of gentle yoga or restorative yoga in addition to my workout, or do yoga, light yoga on a rest day kind of thing. So anyway, that's a lot of granular detail. But again, this is like me out loud blogging. So hopefully you gain something from that. If you have any questions about any of the resources I shared, definitely let me know. And remember that this is all just for me. I'm not saying that like GABA will cure ADHD. I'm just like, hey, I'm willing to try this. It's a very low stakes experiment for me to try. And so we'll see how it goes. And I will report back what I find out. So that's it for today, and I'm excited for the week ahead. Talk to you guys tomorrow.